Hi guys, so today's video is about calculating relative frequency. Now essentially relative frequency is how we record the probability of something occurring based on our experimental data. So we use essentially the formula, so relative frequency equals the number of outcomes that we wanted, that we were examining, over the total number of trials. Okay, and that's going to make a little bit more sense in a minute when we do look at our example. And once we have a relative frequency, we can then be able to predict what our expected frequency would be if we were to do more trials. So in this example, we have 30 people arriving for work in a 10-story office building before 8:30, another 218 from 8:30 and up to 9, and then 44 after 9, and then so on. So we have all of that information there, and we want to calculate the relative frequency for each of the arrival times that we've been given in the question. Now, to be able to do that, the easiest way for any of these sorts of questions where you're given a whole lot of information is to put all that information into a table. So we have our table here, and we're going to put all of our different types of arrival times into this first box here. And then we're going to put into this box here the frequency of that, and this last bit here is going to be used to calculate our relative frequency. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So now that I've collated all the information from my question into my table, it makes it easier for me to be able to work out all of my information. Now, the first thing I need to do before I can actually calculate my relative frequency is work out how many trials we did altogether. So that's how many people actually arrived to work, because that's part of our formula that we need to do. So we do that by simply adding or finding the sum of all of those frequencies that we had there, which would give you this equation. So I've got 30 plus 218 plus 44 plus 8, and once I've done that, then that would give, and I put that in my calculator, that would give me a total of 300 people arriving to work. So now that I know that, I actually have all my information to be able to calculate each of my relative frequencies. So for the first one, we should be writing down our formula if we're showing our understanding. So relative frequency equals arrivals before 8:30. So we're looking at our 8:30 arrivals over the total frequency that we have altogether. So, and we already have calculated that to be 300 people. So for this one I'm looking at, so I'm going to have 30 over 300, and I can simplify that in my calculator using my fraction button. And if I do that, I'm going to get an answer of 1 over 10. Now, sometimes we represent relative frequency as fractions, or we can represent them as a percentage, and 1 over 10 would be 10%. Okay, so I'm going to fill in the rest of the table now. How about you have a go at the same time? So pause the video here. So now that I've calculated all my relative frequencies, I can do a quick check to make sure I haven't made any errors by adding all of my percentages up, and I should get a number that's fairly close to 100. So it won't be exactly that, because we do round as we're making doing each of our calculations. As long as it's really close to 100, then we'd be happy about that. And here we have an answer that is 100.1%, which that's close enough to 100 for me. So guys, that's how you calculate relative frequency. Thanks very much.